Hi there, Eric McRae, Asparagus Party here, coming in with a new video to my anime and gaming commentary channel. And actually, I've had a lot on my mind recently. I have to make a lot of tough decisions for, constantly questioning myself, is it worth it to run this channel? What am I trying to accomplish with this channel? Is it good for me? Is it good for the YouTube community? Is it good for the viewers? And, constantly examine where am I going with this. And I did make a video that you can find in my channel, my goals for this channel, and I highly recommend you watch it if you're trying to get to know me. But I will outline this for any of my subscribers, any of my viewers. My goal is always a relationship. I think that is the best approach. There's always this temptation if you get involved with some kind of media or something like YouTube to really just use people. I mean, imagine if I look at successful YouTubers, and this is not to attack or to neither judge nor dismiss them, but if I looked at some of the big YouTubers with big channels, they might be following a formula, or they might have a way of doing things that they can just consistently sort of cut and paste a general formula to how they approach creating their video and simply market it out with almost 100% guaranteed success and make an income out of it or something like that. And maybe for a lot of them it's actually good stuff for you, the viewers, and good for them, like a mutual relationship. But there may be actually other times or other YouTubers where it is not. And something you want to bear in mind, me as a person and probably you as a person as well watching, we always have financial concerns we have to deal with. As much as it's so tempting to fall into sort of the promise of the socialistic, communistic, utopian type idea, the reality is nothing in life is free. We have rent we have to pay for our roofs over our heads. We have bills we have to pay to keep our internet connection. We have things we have to do, and then that forces us to make decision making for which expenditure of our time is profitable or not. And I want to give an honest statement here that this is not about whether I keep this channel or close it or anything like that. I don't really plan to close my channel, but I wanted to share my thoughts that in the future I'll be producing probably more content, and what I'm finding I'm kind of troubled in dealing with is I have a certain way I like to do things, a certain way I like to talk, and then I have what is called the YouTube meta, which really implies at this time it'd be something like short videos, typically under 5 minutes. And videos that are very strategically organized. For example, the speaker, you'll notice I don't try to imbue too much passion into my speech, and not that I'm not passionate about what I do, but I try to be objective. I don't want to see, as I mentioned earlier, I don't like people to be used by me. I don't like to basically engage what is tantamount to brain control, where you're coming in, you're watching my video, and I have a musical note in the background that's working like the Pied Piper, controlling the mice. And then I'm using passion to draw you in, and now all your objectivity, your ability to be autonomous and self-governing and judge the content of what I'm saying kind of drops. You're sort of just dragged along by charisma and moved to start contributing donations to me, to start liking my videos mindlessly. I'm really trying to find what is a healthy and safe balance in this, where I'm not doing some senseless mind control based in self-interest, so to speak. And it's not easy. So again, I'm not accusing YouTube or YouTubers of establishing meta you have to follow in order to be able to at some point make profitability off of YouTube. But these are the questions coming up, because I don't really think I can afford forever to do videos for free. It's not that I wouldn't like to, but based on other engagements, other interests, it's just not feasible. So I end up asking these questions: where am I taking this channel, and how am I going to continue to structure my video? So if I want to be very open and accountable, is something I've mentioned to my channel viewers and my subscribers. So if you ever have questions, feel free to just openly message me. You can contact me. I'll try to get more to replying to the people who are commenting on my videos, or anyone who just comments on my channel. However you do that, I'll find a way to get back to you. But again, I can't promise that my channel will necessarily morph to meet the demands and every demand and want of the viewer or subscriber, but I'm also going to try to be very fair and not have it to purely warp and form to meet only my interests and desires, to sort of find a place of mutual discussion and engagement that is as ideally as beneficial and enriching for everyone, and hopefully profitable at some point. That's what I've been thinking about, is the general direction for this. So whether I keep the informative style, incorporate music in my videos, make them shorter, those are kind of questions I'm meditating on. So you might come on my channel and you'll notice there's some videos that are 30 minutes to an hour long, very big discussions, and then there's videos that are shorter, and there's kind of a mix of both. Again, being accountable, what's really going on here is I'm sort of testing the waters here and trying to figure out what works, and do I commit to one or the other or both. And what I'm talking here is a long video versus a short video, a 5-minute video versus a 30-minute video. So you'll notice with my video commentary on Afro Samurai, I have a short clip that was quite popular compared to my other videos. It got about 2,400 views. And I have a longer video that got probably much less, maybe something like 60 to 80 views. And if I check out the analytics for these videos, a lot of the people who watched the long video and got engaged with hearing everything it had to say started with the shorter video, and they like that, and they say, why not hear the full thing and see if there's any more to contribute? And which was interesting, because if you look at the full video there, I do have some criticism or some negative points for Afro Samurai as a series that would appear in the full version that you might not necessarily hear in the short version, where I hate to say it, the short version video really does kind of function like a view baiter, so to speak, or kind of like we have the ideal of the thumbnail bait, as they say. You're baiting viewers into coming into your channel. Again, this is not even terminology I like, it's just kind of commonplace speech of what it's really doing. You're trying to lure people in a very real way. Now, I'm not saying to use them. Hopefully your channel has something of value for them, but they might not necessarily realize initially that there's something of value in your channel or in my channel for them. And it's very interesting too, because the dynamic is massive. You know, potentially the people viewing your channel have their own channels, or will have their own channels, and are engaged in the exact same experimentation at many points. So when I look at the people commenting on my videos, sometimes I'm curious, because I'll see a person who's got a channel with no videos, or one video and 1 subscriber, or 2 subscribers, or something like that, and you ask the question, is this a real person or is this a bot, and how does that work? And then I've always wondered if YouTube has actually bot channels on it that automatically reply, because I've seen stuff that really looks like that, and I'm not hoping to attract any attention from that, but it is a question. And I don't know, really. I don't have an answer for it. But you see other people where, okay, you sort of see them starting up a channel of their own, and then maybe others are bigger people who have had a channel for some time. And it's intriguing. So while you normally would think to divide yourself on a basis of, I'm the guy running a channel, here are the viewers and the subscribers, quite a few of those viewers and subscribers are doing the exact same thing, and will be more relatable to know exactly what you're talking about in terms of the obstacles. So again, whatever you see happening on this channel, whatever thing you see going on with the videos, know that it is open to discussion. It's not off discussion, and whatever type of content you enjoy seeing, you kind of like, Again, I can't promise I'll meet it, but please be open to convey it, because I'm trying to battle my own tendency to gravitate towards this kind of weak, when humans are kind of born into the world and start our education, we often start with what I call the weak human nature, which kind of is an either or system. This is often why people groups get involved in massacring other people groups. There's not enough resources for the both of us. It's either you or us. It's me or you. This kind of finality kind of view, whereas a discussion takes you into grounds that are more eternal. Is there a way this can work out for both of us? Though it is initially more uncomfortable. That's what I'm trying here to do. So even for me, there's always this temptation to think, okay, it's either short videos or long videos. It's either these little cuts or something that just is giving you the whole story. It's very, very uncomfortable and challenging at points to figure out what I'm going to do with that. Another thing I also notice is I do make editing mistakes even when I try to honestly do good editing. And there's a lot I don't know here. For one thing, I don't know if the platform I'm using is ideal or not. I'm using Wondershare Filmora. I don't have the best of equipment, but secondly, things like the shaking things and when's the right time to do it, when's the wrong time to do it, spinning screens or whatever cool effects you see other YouTubers using, I might not be privy exactly to a sense of how to do it, or when is it appropriate, or when is it just obnoxious and flashing lights trying to brainwash people into just mindlessly watching your content. What is the healthy approach for this? These kind of questions are constantly boggling my mind. So whenever I make a video, I'm really troubled with all kinds of difficulty. I try to be very, very cautious and controlled in the information I'm trying to give you, because I do have an agenda with the information I'm giving you. Like if I make a commentary like I did on Azure Kite, or if I make a commentary on like Afro Samurai, there's an angle, there's something I see in the content that's meaningful. And it might not be what's popular per se. It might be something that nobody's talking about this. And I'm trying to have a way of having you, without me forcing it on you, draw you along for the journey so you can see what I'm seeing, and maybe it might help you appreciate those things more and say, wow, the reason I was drawn to these series and these characters was just bigger than, nice art and fancy music. It might have been something more complicated, and it might actually increase, even in a healthy way, not an egotistical way, your respect for yourself. That's something I try to go into video creating with mind to. So when you're trying to be that careful with the words you convey, it's often you're really weakened when you're making these videos by kind of a certain amount of fear and anxiety, because you're being so hyper mindful to the precognitive processes of the viewership. The people I'm trying to reach have filtration systems, things they want to hear and don't want to hear. Sometimes things they should hear and need to hear are things they don't want to hear. And you're trying to preemptively predict that and make a response, but that's not dominating and oppressive, but very open and engaging. And it's incredibly difficult to do that and be genuine and come off as genuine at the same time, because some people are going to watch my videos and they're going to think, dude, it's like this isn't the genuine you. And of course, apart from that comes the risk that if somebody says that to you and you let that get into your head, it starts affecting you and controlling your actions. This is kind of all psychology kind of stuff that I'm talking about right here. But yeah, making videos is difficult. And one thing I found, that getting engaged with YouTube, now having 2 channels, I really have more respect for those who are doing it, whether they're succeeding or not. It's not as easy as it's made out to be. If you call success good financials and income from it, I respect the people who are managing to succeed out of it in that sense. But if you call success not always formulated by financial gains, but people doing what must be done even when it's not profitable, making videos when they're not going to get an income for it, when it's at cost to them because they're conveying some info that was critical that people needed that they didn't have a desire for, I respect those people all the more now. So it's been beneficial for that very much. So overall, I really think I'd like to continue making these videos. I'd like to keep at it, but it's there are setbacks that are very serious setbacks that happen with me based on oftentimes mental anxiety and psychological considerations. Like, there are days where, what I think is ideal for humans is to be as productive as possible. Maybe I've been hanging around with too many capitalists, but I actually think it's morally right. The thing is, if you could use 100% of your time in a meaningful and productive way, there's no room left in your actions for all the antagonism, the war, the violence, the morally repugnant stuff that we'd all universally agree on, because you're making full use of your resources to allow no room for the stuff that tends to happen when you're idle in an unhealthy way. Now, some people, I think this can be a bit more complicated. You talk about people who are idling, and there's this proverb, the devil fills idle hands, which is mostly true. I'd actually agree with it in many cases, but it's not absolute, in the sense that some people that look like they're idling are not really idling. They're occupying their mind and meditating on something they're about to do or work out, and they're thinking about all the pros and cons, whether it's worth it, and they're judging it. And it's very easy to label someone as not so valuable, unproductive person based on an external appearance. It's kind of very easy to prejudge that and judge wrongly. So I'm very careful with these things, because I think humans make bad calls all the time for people we fund or people we defund, and I want to, as much as possible, learn from those mistakes and not repeat the same mistakes as our ancestors might have repeated over and over for hundreds of years. I don't think it's a benefit to us to continue stumbling in the same things forever. And I do believe in making a certain amount of progress, though I'm more focused on sort of moral progress before, say, scientific, technological progress. I put the material second. I think progress in general is good. But I think a material progress not guided by a principle of sort of a moral progress is not going to help humanity at all. I think it'll become self-destructive. But that's a discussion for perhaps another channel, another time. But at any rate, one of the reasons I make a video like this is the more you get to know me, you'll get a better sense of whether you're going to find enjoyment in the content I produce or not, what to sort of expect. And I'm hoping that no one needs to be disappointed, because what happens is, again, it's a relationship. You're making a channel, you're making videos, it's a relationship between you and the people you're reaching out to. And what tends to happen is the most hurt or sort of emotional hurt that people incur in life, which I'd argue is probably one of the bigger pains of human suffering that we deal with, it often occurs in a context where people are feeling betrayed or let down, like an image a person showed them, like, this is me, come hang out with me, and it turns out to be a false image, right? They feel betrayed or let down. You did not live up to what you promised or conveyed yourself as. Usually when these situations occur, it happens in a situation where somebody's not being perfectly open, perfectly accountable, or perfectly honest. They're living a bit too agenda-driven, or they're not communicating what they're going through that's hindering their ability to be what they strive to be, so to speak. So something I'm very, very believe in is just having clear communication. So even if I don't look like the biggest YouTuber right now, and it might not look like I can justify making a big video talking about what I'm doing with this channel, I feel from my viewpoint that it would be incredibly disrespectful of the 25 subscribers I do have so far. It would be incredibly disrespectful of those people who've already put in hundreds of hours of view time or whatever it is they've done to not reach out to them and say, this is exactly what's going on with my channel, how it is, and the questions I'm going through. I'd rather bring you along with me for the journey because, in a very real way, despite the disdain we might feel that this was being quoted by our governments and the COVID thing very recently, in this sense, we really are in it together. We're all trying to achieve success here. We're all trying to achieve a discussion and mutual understanding with our fellow human beings, and it's not easy. It requires that kind of communication, that kind of reaching out, that kind of openness. And I'm happy to have the opportunity in our modern era through internet, through video media, to do that. And that's one of the reasons that kind of secretly I'm always afraid of these kind of censorship movements. And if I ever sound really angry at sort of that kind of what they do call the woke, the communistic, socialistic side of society, it's because lately they've been the heaviest on this kind of censorship. Usually when people back off from controlling what's said and take legitimate criticism when it comes without reacting too negatively to it, it allows you to have a fair conversation where everyone's mutually enriched. And that's something I highly, highly value. And I want to see that continue. It's kind of like having trade, If you engage in fair trade, I get your pan that I don't have, and I have, 2 chickens. You get the chicken that you don't have, and now you have a pan and a chicken, and I have a pan and a chicken. That kind of thing, right? So getting forward into this a little more, there are other issues I struggle with that make it difficult to produce videos, and I want to be open about that. Right now with my current computer, it's not all that bad, but I do have a lack of hard drive space, and I'm trying to accommodate for this for now by using my 60 gig USB flash drives, but I'm not always sure how to use it in a way that's productive, because when I record a video, for example, on Wondershare, it defaults to the hard drive, right? To my solid state drives, which do not have space to do more than 30 gigs or so at a time. And I'm not really sure right now if I can change this to go to the flash drive, but even then, if I can, I'm still not sure if the flash drive will have issues or not, being that it's kind of this USB plug-in. Will it crash at times and make this process more miserable or not? I'm not always certain, so I'm definitely going to have to invest at some point if I really want to do this competently in another hard drive, which is of course more cost incurred and something for me to consider. But that's not all. Another thing I found very challenging in trying to make YouTube videos is copyright claims. And the reason why it's so challenging is because on one part, I probably haven't done my full due diligence in going through all the sort of README agreements to perfectly understand all YouTube's policies on that. Though I might argue maybe that would have been futile anyways, because how it seems to be is that there's a lot of pandering based on sort of a complaint system. And it's very strange, but it does affect my videos in a very powerful way, and I can give you a perfect example. So I made that commentary on Blackbeard from One Piece, and in that video there was a point where I was trying to link the mindset of the real life Blackbeard, because Marshall D. Teach, Blackbeard of One Piece, was written based on inspiration taken on some level from the real life pirate we had, Edward Teach Blackbeard, a pirate, I think from the 18th century. And that raises a lot of questions, right? okay, how much is this character that's fictional inspired by the character that's real? And my way to bridge this gap was to use a video clip done by the Smithsonian, which really made the link kind of perfectly clear. And it was like when you saw the video with that clip, it was beautiful. I think anyone who saw it would have really enjoyed it and felt like really great about it. The problem was you couldn't see the clip, you couldn't see the video because it got flagged as a major copyright claim, and I didn't get a strike from it. The way they worded it on the system, I don't know if it's bot automated or a YouTube moderator telling you this, that's actually a person, but it says, don't worry, it's not a strike, but your video has basically no visibility. So no one could see it. I'd link it to people and they couldn't see it. So I had to edit that out, and then when you edit that out, the quality of the end video looks a lot less spectacular, needless to say. It's a lot less explanatory and a lot less enjoyable. That's unfortunately been an issue. I also got copyright claims with Afro Samurai videos based on the usage of video clips. And here's where it gets complicated. So say you use 3 or 4 different video clips in your video. If you do an Afro Samurai commentary, maybe you use a clip from the video game, you use a clip from the anime, and maybe use some other clip that was some other person's commentary on it, who knows. Okay, now you get these copyright claims. Which one is causing the issue? Because it's very possible not all of them are issues. Because there are times you use a clip in your video that has the original audio, the original presentation, and it doesn't get, it does mention it's a copyright claim, but then it also simultaneously says the company has permitted use of this on YouTube. So for example, the 5th cinematic of, showing Azure Kite fighting Haseo in .hack GU Volume 1 in my Azure Kite video, that's not causing me any issues right now. So that slides through, but not every video is like that. So in the Afro Samurai one, I assumed the issue is the anime, but I didn't know, so I played it safe by deleting every video clip with actual audio and just substituting image use, because I have no way of knowing which one is causing the issue. I'm not given those specifics, or at least I haven't seen those specifics. Maybe I'm not using the YouTube studio well enough. Maybe there is more detail and I haven't noticed it, but as far as I could tell, I had no way of knowing which clip was the issue. So this is something that makes it very challenging if you're sort of a new upstarting content creator with sort of a vision in mind and you're trying to do something. You very quickly will have those battles with the copyright, not just the laws, but the copyright claims, and when or when not you can get away with using a clip, and when it's appropriate or when it's not. This has been very challenging, and again, this is all part of whether I make a good video or not. It's so difficult. It's all assuming I'll manage to even at first get past the negative voice in my own head saying, what are you doing? Nobody really needs to hear this. No one's really going to listen to this. It's the probability of me getting past my own negativity inside is already low enough. But then when you have all these other hurdles and obstacles, worries about being censored over something you say, or worries about these kind of things, it makes it that much more challenging to get a video out. So yeah, this is part of what I'm going through with this channel, part of the things I'm meditating on. And how I kind of decided to deal with it is just talk about it, make a video, share your thoughts. And you know what? If any of the people watching your channel are really supportive or, empathetic and happy that you're talking about this, they'll express it in comments. So for me, it comes off as a natural thing to just share the whole discussion, share the whole story of what's going on, and be open about it. So again, in the future, I hope to produce more videos, and I hope they'll be of an even better quality and more well edited. But for the time being, I do have challenges in figuring out what that looks like and how to get there. So I hope you all be patient with me. If you ever have a question or issue, I hope this will help you sort of understand what's going on, and sort of explain all those gaps. And again, anytime you want to talk to me, feel free to reach out through comments. You can ask me to reply to you. I think there should be a functionality in YouTube where you can sort of discuss on the channel rather than on the video. Pardon my lack of familiarity, but you should be able to reach out to me and communicate. I think you can also email a person who created a channel if they included it in their YouTube settings. But I'd prefer comments, actually, because I get notifications on YouTube, and whereas my email, there's too much of a probability it'll get buried in some other automated thing from various sites you're signed up for. So it might make the most sense to try to reach out to me those ways. So that, I hope, explains it all. And that's it for today. God bless you guys, and thank you so much for sharing your time with my channel. I really appreciate it, and I'll get back to you in the next video. See ya.